G'day viewers, my name's Graham Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists in Australia do what they do. Okay guys, welcome back to Colour in Your Life. Well, we are with an amazing man today, Peter Smeeth. Bud, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Graham.
Without a doubt, this man would be one of the leading portraiture, figurative, still life artists in the country, bar none. He's an incredibly talented human being. You're going to see some amazing things today. You're also the winner of many of the major Australian art prizes as well. Tell us about those.
Well, I won the Mortimer Prize, the Salon de Refusé Holding Redlich Prize, and 2011 I won the Sulman Prize at the Art Gallery of New South Wales.
Fantastic stuff. And a finalist in the Archibald and just about every other major prize in the country, the Wynne and the Blake as well, all the way through.
Yeah. Lucky enough to be, I think, the Archibald 3 times, the Archibald Salon de Refusé 4 times.
Yeah.
Shirley Hannon National Portrait Prize 6 out of 6 times.
There you go.
And and the Doug Moran 3 times.
There you go. It's like
semi-finals.
It continues.
Yeah.
But you know, the calibre of the man's work, you're going to see that as we go through the day. I mean, it is amazing. That's the only way that I can describe. I mean, if you're going to lose a lot of superlatives, that's one of them anyway. But you're going to be doing a still life for us today.
Yeah, I thought I'd do a simple one with a very simple palette, just two colours plus black and white, and just 2 items, brass and glass.
It'd be fantastic. I mean, this, as I said, this man is without a doubt one of the best in the country, so this is going to be an incredible day for everybody watching. But let me sit down and get out of your way, and we'll sit down and watch what you're going to do, and it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, there won't be a lot of colour in this, but you'll see colour this afternoon when we go and see the exhibition that I've got on at the Gosford Regional Gallery.
Absolutely, because there's some of the work that you're going to see this afternoon is pretty amazing as well. So, but let's get stuck into this, and I'll get out of the way.
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
Good work.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you.
Okay, Pete, how do we begin our still life?
Well, I've cheated a little bit. I've drawn it out now to save us time. And what I'll do is fill in the big block colours first.
Okay.
That's the way I normally start. And I'll start with acrylic and then I'll finish up with oil later on. I have a couple of theories on painting. And one is if you can put the right paint, the right colour in the right shape, in the right spot, it's got to look like what you're doing.
Yeah.
And the second part of it is if you can stand to stay there long enough and fix up enough mistakes, it's got to look all right.
In the end, that's persistence.
Yeah, it's not rocket science.
Definitely.
I'll fill in the background first, just get a bit of mainly black, dark colour in the background. So that then delineates it and you can give us a basic shape. So this part you can do.
You just sort of really throw it on.
Very quickly. And it can be rough because you can go over it. This the beauty of acrylic is it dries sort of in half an hour, so you just go over it. So I said before, it's about fixing up mistakes. I'm good at making mistakes.
Yeah, well, it's about the only way you're going to learn. So.
That's right. Children learn by making lots of mistakes. Adults are usually too frightened to make them.
One of the really interesting parts about you as a man is that you're actually an MD as well. You're a doctor. So,
Well, I used to be.
Yeah.
I retired. Well, I left. I just changed jobs. I didn't really retire.
yeah,
I changed jobs from being general practitioner, family doctor,
yeah.
to a full-time artist 7.5 years ago.
But obviously art has been a very strong magnetic force for you over the years.
Oh, all my life, Graham.
Yeah.
From time of about probably 4 years of age, drawing and then painting from about 9 or 10.
So Mum and Dad said you've got to get a real job?
Well, actually that was one of the reasons I did medicine, because I
Yeah.
thought at that age, at the grand old age of 16,
Yeah.
I thought I didn't want to waste what I thought at that stage was an education.
Yeah.
It certainly wasn't an art education. They didn't have art at the school I went to. I went to a school in the country called Yanco Ag. At this stage of the game, things move along fairly quickly, and towards the end of the painting, things are very slow, and you only see minute changes.
Yeah. What initially drew you to portraiture? Because that's really what you're best known for, and you can understand why when you see some of Peter's work. It really is just quite
I'm
amazing.
basically interested in people. I think that's what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I did medicine and why you do portraits. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. We're a herd animal, aren't we? And it's interesting to see other people's face. I mean, that's the first thing we look at.
Yeah.
Or I suppose body shape from a distance.
Yeah.
And then we hone in on the face, see if we recognise the other member of the herd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, so that's basically the black part, and I usually do the start to the glass just to get a rough idea of where I am.
Give it an outline, yeah.
Yeah. At this stage I'm just delineating everything. Later on I'll do lots of lost and found edges
Sure.
to give it that nice round 3D look. So there's probably enough information there. I'll pick up a couple of the darks in the brass just so that it'll become a light and dark. You can start to see things taking shape. We're basically starting from dark and finishing with the lights.
But with work as detailed as yours, I mean, it's, as you said before, it's really a matter of just sort of building the story, bit by bit.
Yeah, you just got to slowly sneak up on it.
Yeah,
It's like what they say, to become reasonably proficient at something or to be good at something, you have to spend your 10,000 hours at it. And that's certainly true of painting.
and the apprenticeship never really ends.
No.
Just
No,
doesn't.
I feel I'm sort of towards the end of my apprenticeship, and now I'm going to start to do some decent paintings now.
In saying that, I mean, you've got some beautiful pieces in here. One of Craig McLaughlin. You've got a couple of studies of him in here, and he's Dr. Frankenfurter in the musical The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
And they're just fantastic pieces. The expression on Craig's face is just enormous.
Yeah, I found it a bit difficult because of the makeup. It's hard to get different shades. There's a lot of blue in the skin, but with the makeup on, it kills all that. Because I hadn't done one before with people in makeup, I found it difficult to actually capture the person under the makeup.
But they're, I mean, absolutely extraordinary pieces. And I can see that you're really prolific as well. If you can see around Peter's studio, I mean, he has study after study, and there's just paintings everywhere. This is a guy that doesn't stop.
Well, what else is there?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So basically what we're doing still is doing the big shapes.
Yep.
I'm still basically following the lines a bit, but
just mapping in, basically.
mapping it out.
Yeah.
It's like building a house. You know, if your foundation's good, it'll come up okay. If you've got a lousy foundation, then the whole thing's going to collapse later on.
I mean, my profound confusion is, how does an artist that's self-taught get as good as you are? I mean, you must have studied.
I've studied a lot of the old masters,
Yeah,
but it's been an informal way of doing it.
yeah. And have you taught other people through your career?
I've only started teaching in the last couple of years. I teach at the Sydney Art School out at Borkham Hills.
And obviously winning a lot of these major prizes, you actually took out the Solomon Prize with a painting called The Artist's Fate. And in a sense, it was in a sense about the rejection of the way that an artist feels about his work, but you're actually accepted and won the prize.
Yeah, it was a bit of a paradox, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's basically a self-portrait in which I've been cut open, and you know the feeling when you're rejected, whether it's a rejection from an art prize, which is not that important, but if it's a rejection like being sacked from work or rejected from a relationship, then you feel really, really terrible. You feel like you've lost an arm and a leg, like you've been poked in the eye with a sharp stick, like you've had your heart ripped out and being left completely gutted. Well, I actually painted that literally, with myself opened up and my intestines on the ground, and my heart being held by Father Time or Death. And it was a very gorish painting, and I didn't expect it to be in. But what happened was it got selected, and this painting of rejection got accepted, and then it actually won the prize. So you can't get more unrejected than that.
That is the ultimate paradox. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah. There's a lot of paradoxes in art, isn't there? I mean, we're trying to get a 3D representation on a two-dimensional surface.
Yeah.
Well, that's an illusion we're going for, isn't it? We're a bit trying to be magicians.
It's, in a sense, particularly with your work, there is paradox and innuendo in it. I mean, the picture that you did with Edmund Capon called "Where is the Cavalier?" And that really is a sense of paradox in just about all of the things that you've put in there, representing that. And obviously, Edmund being probably one of the best-known gallery directors that Australia has had. It's a fascinating piece.
There was a Tang Dynasty rider in it, a statue, who's a cavalier. There was a painting that was stolen from the gallery called the Cavalier, and of course Edmund himself could be described as being a cavalier. He's been knighted in Italy and France, and he also has what can be described as a cavalier attitude at times, even though he's a well known and well respected art scholar.
Yes.
So now I'd probably, at this point, use a bit more paint.
I mean, the beauty with the acrylics, particularly when you're pairing these background colours, that they only take 20 minutes to dry.
Yeah. Each little bit you do defines it just that little bit more and makes it just that little bit more real.
So with your colours, you've got a preference in oils. What do you like to use?
I have a very limited palette. I usually have titanium white, yellow ochre, cadmium red mid, burnt sienna, cobalt blue, and ivory black. That's it.
Really?
And that's what I use for every painting. Occasionally, I'll use a alizarin or a deeper red, and then depending on if it's some clothing, you might need a deeper blue. Basically, that palette of white, yellow ochre, cadmium red, burnt sienna, cobalt blue, and ivory black. That's it.
Wow.
And you can make just about every colour from that.
That's what you call discipline as well. In the process of you entering these portraiture prizes, you've really come across some well-known Australian identities in the process. You've done a couple of pictures of Philip Adams. He's a well-known writer and public speaker, atheist. Broadcaster. There's a couple of pieces that you've got there where he's holding a book of the Quran, and
that was for the Blake Prize for Religious Art. I thought I was being smart because Philip was probably our most well-known atheist. And I thought to get an atheist into the religious prize would be a little bit of a coup. But I didn't quite judge the zeitgeist because the Blake Committee actually asked Philip to open the show that year. So I wasn't sure whether it was after they saw his portrait editor or before.
Yeah, it's funny. But I mean, magnificently created. I mean, the likenesses that you get of these people are just amazing.
Yeah, it's a matter of what I said before, you stay there long enough, put enough hard yards in.
Yeah.
It comes out looking all right. I do quite a lot of paintings, portraits from photos, particularly if it's a celebrity, because you just don't get the time. They won't sit for the hours required to do a portrait from life. I would normally take probably about 7 to 10 sittings of 2 to 3 hours each. And most of the major celebrities won't give you that. Understandably, they won't give you that amount of time. They just haven't got that to spare. So I do a lot from sketches to start with, and then using the photos for reference. But I have to take my own photos because there's nothing worse than doing a painting from a photo done by a professional photographer. It's just too slick. It just doesn't come out naturally. I think the modern digital SLR cameras, with the right light, you can get that nice sculptural 3D effect. It doesn't come across as looking like a painting of a large photo.
One of the things that I do notice about your work, Peter, is that the way that you capture light. I mean, that's one of the hardest things to do in art and one of the most important. And I think, which is little bit of humour that you've thrown in there as well, was capturing the light.
You know how people say about landscape painters, how they've captured the light. So what I wanted to show was, this is how a portrait painter captures the light. We grab it with both hands. That was. I was being a bit cheeky.
It's a great metaphor, mate. It really is. Okay, Bo, well, you've finished with the acrylics and you've got some oils out there.
I have. We'll just get rid of the acrylic palette, put that down on the floor.
It's just great to see what you can do with acrylics to build up the base anyway.
Yeah, well, you've got a really good template to work on now. I'll just put some liquid with this. This is Winsor & Newton liquid, which is a great vehicle. Okay, let's go. So I'll follow the same steps as I did before.
Yeah.
And we'll put the background in just so that we know the tones of all the colours. I find that with oils, you can get a slightly more realistic appearance and a nicer consistent surface. I'm just going to angle this canvas here a bit to get the shine off it. I'm getting light from one of the windows. That's better, not as much shine now. We're just cutting in close and putting this on nice and neatly. It helps bring the handle out. And we're just slowly trying to bring it all to life.
Now there's a piece that we're just screening up now, and you've aptly named it Napoleon Smeeth.
You've named it that.
But it gives people an idea of what your ability is with your imagination and how you can really recreate them in any scene at all, can't you?
That particular painting just came from a thought that, a lot of us artists are a bit mad. I thought, well, what's the symbol of someone being mad in our society as being someone who thinks they're either JC or Napoleon? So I picked Napoleon. That was the easier one to do.
But it gives people an idea of what's possible.
Oh yeah. Well, anyone can have themselves painted as any person in history. If they want to, they could be done. I can paint them in a religious context as one of the crowd around the cross, or we can paint them as one of the Greek heroes in Greek mythology. Whatever you like. I mean, I'll paint anything. I'll paint anything except someone else's fence or someone else's house. But anything else, I'm happy to have clients have some input in it and paint things together. I'm not precious that way. It's not all about the artist, it's about the client.
When you won the Mortimer Prize with the picture of Nelson Salesi protecting his artwork, he's a Fijian artist, and he really looks like something out of the Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. That's a fantastic picture.
He had a turban made out of tarpa cloth. Yeah.
You're not the type of man that you want to mess with.
And in the background of that portrait are Nelson's own paintings. And so I've titled the painting Nelson Salesi Protecting His Artwork. No, well, when I first saw him, he was at an art show and we were sitting around sipping on Chardonnay, trying to look cool. And he turned up, and he was about 3 foot away from me when I saw him, and the crowd parted, and he was stripped to the waist and had one half of his face painted black and the other half red, and he had a huge, big stick, nulla type club, and I instantly thought what a great painting he'd be. So we're doing the same as what we did before, we're putting in the darks.
Obviously continuously to refer back to your light box.
Yeah, well if you spend too much time looking at what you're doing, you lose sight of what you're meant to be doing.
Mm-hmm. So generally, your portraiture paintings, I mean, how many hours would you spend on doing an average size one of those?
No, it depends what it is and how detailed it is. Like I've got one of the commission I've just started of General Sir John Monash, our great war hero from World War I.
Yeah.
It's going to take me probably something like 200 hours, I'd say, because of all the medals. It's very fine, intricate painting, and you can't avoid it. I mean, you can do an impression of them.
Yeah.
But I like to be historically accurate, especially in history paintings.
Yes.
To be historically accurate, so it's nice to have the detail there.
All right, Pete, well, you've got a little bit of work to do there, so we might just let you continue on with that and we'll come back shortly.
Okay. Where we go from here, it takes probably another couple of hours to bring it up to speed, to make it actually look really shiny. But the basics are there, and you can see the method that we use for doing the sketch, the acrylic underpainting, and then the oil over the top.
Also today, we wanted to head down to one of your local galleries where you're exhibiting. You've got a fantastic show on there at the moment as well. And then just have a wander through the gallery and have a chat to you, because there's some beautiful pieces down there that we'd also like to see also. So let's let you finish that off, and then we'll head down to the gallery and have a look as well.
Right, well, I can't say no to that.
Okay, Pete, Gosford Regional Gallery. Fantastic, and this is an amazing collection they've got of your work in here. It's just brilliant, and you can just see by the whole day how clever this man really is. Philip Adams, this is a magnificent piece of work. And you can see by the scale as well, it's absolutely huge. So, brilliant piece of work, and actually made the finalist for the Archibald as well.
It made the Salon de Refusé, and
Yeah.
it won the People's Choice at the Salon.
That's fantastic. Now, in saying that, I mean, once again to the audience, if you would like to commission Peter to do work for you, they should really come and see you at your website, which is?
petersmeeth.com.
Yeah, absolutely. The resurrection paintings, which I think are brilliant, of course, and obviously literally using this man's ability to put you in a place where your imagination couldn't possibly take you on your own, without a doubt. But it's been fantastic working with you today, mate. It's just been an incredible day.
It's good fun.
Yeah, I mean, I just learned so much from a brilliant man. We're going to head off again as we normally do. I've really enjoyed seeing what you do. It's quite amazing. You can come and see all of these great guys at colourinayourlife.com.au, and come into our Facebook page as well at Colour in Your Life. We're on YouTube, Vimeo, just about every social networking system you can get these days. So you're definitely going to see a lot more of Peter as we go along as well. We've had a great time, very talented man. And as I always say, until we meet again, remember, make sure you put some colour in your life, and we'll see you next time. Thanks guys, bye now, bye.